welcome to Hypothetically Intentional, where we ask the question, what if we set intentions with everything we do? I am your son, co-host, and mailman, Andrew.
And I am your co-host, Michelle. I guess I'm your mom, too.
Yeah.
But I'm not their mom.
That's true.
Unless Jake's listening. Hi, Jake.
Hi, Jake. You're doing big, important adult things. It's okay. I mean,
Wait,
I guess
are
we are
not
too.
doing big,
Well,
important adult
we're
things?
doing big and important things, but I don't know if it's adult
Okay,
exclusively.
All right.
Like I'm
That's fair.
embracing my inner child, as you would say.
I always embrace my inner child as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. They need a hug.
Yeah, for sure. My inner children need hugs. so many of them just need hugs. If the world would just hug their inner children, what a different place this should be.
Yeah.
Or would be. Should be. Weird.
Should be.
We should set an intention.
We should. I feel like we stumbled upon our intention.
I feel like we
very
kinda did,
naturally.
yes.
And our intention is to hug our inner child.
Yeah.
To be playful and loving to our children, inside and out.
Oh, that seems self-serving.
No, I thought I slipped it in there. Much
see.
slyer, but apparently not.
No, that was not. That was
Damn, I can't.
pretty obvious.
I can't trick you into being nice to me. You're just nice to me already.
Oh, as long as I'm not too nice. So this week, we have an article from Everyday Health that I thought would be fun specifically to talk with you about, Andrew, because it's about travel. It says 4 possible health perks to planning a wellness-inspired vacation. And so to me, that screamed travel. And I know that I happen to love travel. It's one of my biggest resets. And for you, maybe not so much. So I thought it might be a fun article to talk about. Because I actually have kind of, travel is layered for me as well. I thought it might be kind of just a fun and interesting thing to discuss with you.
Yeah, I like this article. It talked about a lot of the benefits of travel. I think I feel mixed towards travel, as you alluded to. I enjoy it. I like. It's hard. It depends on. Like, I think in my mind, travel has a lot of associations with being stuck with people for a long time. And that is the biggest challenge of travel for me, is being is not having my alone time. Or not having and actually, you know what? That's not even true, because I often have alone time when I'm I can make that happen. But it's more so not having my alone space, having a space where I feel I am comfortable, and I can recharge in. I need a home base when I travel, and that is. Historically been sometimes challenging for me to come across, and it can be ideally just a small room that is mine, that I sleep in or whatever, that I can just chill for a bit, or whatever. But that is something that is a need of mine, and maybe a need is too strong of a thing, because in a situation where we are. You're looking at me like it is a need.
Need is not too strong of a thing. This is fascinating to me because I didn't know you were going to go here, and we are so the same, and I didn't even know it.
Oh, well.
Keep going, and then I'll share.
Yeah, well, so if I don't have that, I can still enjoy myself to an extent, but I feel like I'm more I can make memories that I enjoy looking back on, but in the moment I feel a lot more stressed, and it's hard for me to appreciate that in the moment. I feel like if I don't have that place to recharge, it's all very exhausting for me. But I have definitely had travel experiences that I have liked, that I have felt like I've had that space in. Recently I went on after many of my friends and myself graduated from undergrad, and just as a summer trip, one of the last trips before a lot of us get jobs and whatnot, or I guess one of the only trips. It was an excuse for us to go to Florida and hang out, and there I had a home base my room, and it was great. Like the trip was lovely and wonderful. But contrast that to our trip to Thailand a long time ago. How long ago was that?
That was 2018.
2018, which was a fantastic trip. But I felt more at home in the elephant sanctuary than in my room.
What?
Where
Didn't you have your own room?
I had my own room, but you went in there and took a shit.
That's because you took a shit in my
I know that's not how I remember it going.
100% it is.
No.
Yes, it is.
My room had a closed door that you had to walk past all my stuff and go into the bathroom. And for those of you who have never been to Thailand, you can't flush tissue paper down the toilet there. So it all sits in the garbage can and stinks. So
you did that. I still hear you saying mother because you oh, it's such a long story. The short version is you took a shit where everyone else was supposed to take a shit.
Yeah, where everyone was supposed to take a shit. That's the good spot to take a shit.
No, you had your own room. I didn't have a bathroom in my room. You had your very own bathroom in your room, and you chose to go use the one. They're the people who don't have a bathroom in their room, and I had to go, and I was like, well, fuck him. I'm gonna go take care of business. And since he chose to go outside of his room where he has his very own bathroom, I'm gonna solve the problem.
I think I might be on the wrong side of history here. I think I might be in the wrong.
Hysterical.
Oh no!
I was not intending to tell that story on the podcast, but that's amazing. It's so funny.
No, I'm very much being lighthearted here. I'm not actually upset about it. I was hardly upset at the time, at least how I remember it. But
mother.
No, and I mostly wanted that as an excuse to tell that story. But I did have times in Thailand where I was able to recharge.
Yeah, we had our own spaces on purpose there because international travel, especially for the first time, right? Mm-hmm. You need to make sure you have your space. But I want to circle back to you saying you need space because that's my thing with travel. So I recently signed up. This was, I guess it would have been in May, maybe? I went on a women's retreat, and before I committed to the retreat, I asked if I had to share a room. Mm-hmm. And they were like, no, we don't do that. Like, we would never ask you to share a room unless you share a room. And this is an amazing community that I'm part of, and I loved it, and I was super excited about going. But if I would have had to share a room, I might have been like, I'm out. Like, I really need my space when I travel, especially if I'm doing something like a women's retreat or something where it's a wellness thing where we're going to unpack and get vulnerable. And like, I really need to go, like, be able to decompress or do whatever I need to do, right? Cry, yell, whatever. So that is my healthy boundary with travel, is that I need my own space. For me to share a room when I'm traveling is, and it maybe makes me sound like a little snot, but especially if it's something like this wellness thing. If it's a wellness thing, I absolutely need my own space. And I'll go get a different hotel and just stay somewhere else. Yeah. I'll solve that problem. Mm-hmm. And then the travel becomes okay for me.
Yeah. It's funny how you say that, well, maybe not funny, but it's interesting how, like, you say, like, you have to go in your room and, like, do the things that you need to do, and you used examples of, like, scream or cry or, like, decompress in that way, which I relate to as well, except for me, those things aren't scream and cry usually. It's usually like play games with Jake. Like specifically, my travel game, my comfort game is Slay the Spire. If anyone here likes to play games, Slay the Spire, fantastic roguelite deck builder. Anyway, it doesn't matter about what the game itself, but for me, like I have so many good memories, like specifically the Thailand trip I think of. Like, Jake and I, because Jake is one of the few people who I can let into my space in those times. Jake, to a certain extent, you, but even that, not so much.
Sometimes we need space.
Similar with Dad and Jeff. My partner is someone who can be in that space, at least in the one trip we've been on together so far, and it was great. That didn't bother me at all, but anyway... Like just decompressing with Jake, and just like we would both be like on our computers playing this game together, and like occasionally like chiming in about like how we were playing, or sometimes one was watching the other, but it was very much like a no pressure, like it was still a recharging activity. And like to me, like I have a lot of great memories of like trips I've been on, and in almost all of them, I also have a memory of at the hotel or whatever, Jake and I, or just me, just like chilling, playing some Slay the Spire, decompressing, whatever. And it's not always that game. It can be whatever. Sometimes it's been reading. It's been other things before, but like that is the prototypical example in my mind.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're having a good conversation, but I feel like we're straying a little bit from the article.
We are. And that's okay.
Yeah, that is. But the article was talking about the benefits of vacationing and traveling. So what was your interpretation of that? What does the article say is the benefits of traveling?
Well, the thing I found most interesting about this article, or outside of the travel bit that I picked it for, was the fact that it was talking about a wellness inspired. So it's talking about things like going to a hot springs, or attending a yoga retreat, or doing a meditation retreat, right? Like something like that, where it's very specifically for your wellness versus like going to Thailand to explore the world. Mm-hmm. And I find that for me, I'm much more willing to do that now because of the space that I'm in, because I'm in that space. And so for me, it feels like it's dual purpose. It's like research and development for my job, and it's, you know, charging myself. But previous to maybe the last 5 years, I don't know if I would have invested in myself in that way. And I thought that was an interesting, like when I thought about it and got honest, it's like I can spend X amount of dollars and go to a yoga retreat or a hot springs with a bunch of people I don't know, because most of I might have a friend that would go with me, and that would be more fun and appealing to me, but I can't really see like my partner or you kids choosing to go on a hot springs or a yoga retreat with me, which part of travel for me is being with my family, like the people that I love, right? Nothing against strangers that go to wellness retreats, but because I have a limited budget. So for me, if I'm going to invest my money, I would choose the trip with my family and friends. Mm-hmm. But then if I'm looking at it from like a wellness perspective, and this article specifically talking about it helps reduce stress and, you know, helps get rid of, stress is the biggest one that I heard when I read the article. Yeah. It's just like stress reduce, whether it's helping your heart or helping your stress or helping your mindset, all those things. The funny thing is sometimes traveling with family and friends gets complicated and it's like both stressful and not stressful, right? Whereas if I just go on a retreat that's specifically for wellness with people I don't necessarily know, or with one close person, and I still make sure I have my space, that really is more of a reset. Maybe not more of a reset. Maybe that's not fair. But it feels like they serve two different, like when I go to Thailand, for me, that is absolutely reset, partially because I'm across the world. I turn off my computer. I do not log into work, you know, unless I'm gone for months on end. But I really give myself that disconnection. That's harder for me to do here in the United States, right? Like for me, going to Thailand, even no matter who I'm with, is a wellness retreat for me that absolutely gives me a reset. Mm-hmm. Going to like the meditation experience that I went to in June, that you and I went to Wisconsin with, right? Mm-hmm. That was also a nice reset for me. I got the time in the car with you. I got my space alone in the hotel at night. I got the meditation experience that I was both a participant and a teacher in, right? So it served like all of my things that I love the most bubbles, right? Yeah. And that was amazing. But it's just interesting when I read the thing, because the other thing about travel for me is if I'm traveling all by myself, I tend to have anxiety and stress around that, just in general, like getting from point A to point B. Mm-hmm. So that is not stress reducing. Then I go to the thing, get all stress-free, do my thing, and then I gotta get back home. Right. And then I'm stressed out again. Uh-huh. Usually I'm less stressed on the way home. But so it's like I don't know, I just found it interesting for me to like unpack in my mind, or just observe in my mind, which pieces of travel for me are stressful, which pieces of travel for me would I choose, what bits are important, my very own room, 100%. I mean, I'll share a room with Dan. Mm-hmm. And if we're not doing like deep dive wellness stuff, there are friends. I have handfuls of people that I will share a room with, but I'm pretty protective of my space. But more and more I realize how important it is for me to go outside of my normal group of friends and people, and to just go do a wellness thing for me and make new connections with new people and new communities, and how much that has actually filled my heart and my soul on a level that I wouldn't have anticipated, and is very much worth my investment. That I would have told you 5 years ago, there's just like, no way, I want to go to Thailand. I'm going to choose Thailand over that every time, right? Like, I would have said that. And now I'm like, I'll find a way to make both happen. Yeah. Because it's that important.
Yeah.
You know?
And they're
I
like,
think that's cool.
Different things.
Different
like
experiences.
Different purposes. I think that's what I like the most about travel. Like, that's the thing that brings me, that like makes me like want to do it when I want to do it the most, is just the fact that it's such a different experience than like living at home. Like, I'm very comfortable in my shell. I'm very comfortable in my home. I'm cool just being there, doing my thing, good. But like, I also do want to have experiences outside of that. I think is really important as a human being and as a thing. And not that everyone needs to travel. There's a lot of people for whom like it's just not feasible, like financially, or like time in their life. You know, they have a lot of other responsibilities or whatever, and like that's okay. Like I'm not saying like you're a morally inferior person if you don't travel, and nothing like that. But I think like if you do have the means, it's like a really great way to like fulfill a lot of like your like need, like reduce stress and have like, to me that's the big thing, is having new experiences, because to me it doesn't really reduce stress. Like,
no, it doesn't for you. We
like,
talked about that before.
Right, like being at home reduces stress. Traveling, no. I come home from vacation and I am exhausted. I like what it really is for me is like I just like going out and like doing new things, trying new things, meeting new people. Like that is marginally, like that's why like Thailand is, I guess I'd have to think about this a bit more, but right now in this conversation it feels like it's my favorite trip I've ever been on, because it was so different from here. Like but like just like in terms of like the experience of what that was like. I didn't behave in Thailand like I do when I'm at home, and like seeing myself in new situations I think is a good way to like learn about yourself and like see what you could be and like grow and just like like I think it's a really good like combination of the self and learning about other people. Like you learn about them both because they really go hand in hand.
Yeah, I love that. I didn't even know. So I had the impression from a previous conversation, and maybe it was shortly after we got back from Thailand, so maybe it's not even fair, but I had the impression that you were like, yeah, I don't like travel. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't even want to go back to Thailand. Like, it was what it was. You know, going to Thailand, it was what it was. It made me ridiculously uncomfortable. I'm glad I went, but I don't really want to go back. And that might still be true. I don't know. But I also kind of got the impression that for you, that was so much discomfort. Mm-hmm. That travel for you was kind of just like, I'm out. What I love about travel is much what you were saying. I love learning about how other people live. I don't like the touristy stuff when we travel.
Yeah.
I like the local taking me to their favorite restaurants, or just the way everything played out on that trip was magical. But it's just... well, maybe frustrating for you on some ways, but for the most part, it was just magical and cool.
No, like I think it's very possible that right after that trip I said something like that, because I think back then it partially was because it was right after that trip when I was feeling all of that exhaustion, and I didn't have I hadn't not enough time passed for me to realize like you know how important all of those memories and experiences were to me. And also just at that time in my life I was a lot less adventurous and a lot less it didn't matter to me as much having those outside experiences as it does now. And like I think it is definitely still true that travel takes a lot out of me.
Yeah.
And is a challenge for me, but I think I've come to recognize how good it is and how it can be worth it as well.
Yeah. Well, in reading this article too, I was trying to think about, I think after reading that article, I can think more about when I do travel, no matter what I'm traveling for. If I set the intention that I'm also observing me and learning about me in new, uncomfortable situations, it becomes a wellness trip. Because I do think travel does reveal things to us because we're so outside. Even if you're just traveling to the state next door, you're still traveling outside of your home base. There are challenges that happen when you travel, even if it's easy.
Yeah, one thing in this article that I thought was really fascinating was they like did like an experiment where like they had like 20 people stay home, take a week off of work, and 20 people go to a hotel in the same city that they live. And the people who went to the hotel like had lower stress and better outcome, like they felt better. And it was because they were in it was thought to be it was probably because they were in the different situation and doing things differently because of that, and like having those new experiences. So it's almost like it's more of a mindset than just it's both the mindset and the experiences.
Yeah, and I think that I just kept hearing variety is the spice of life. And so many of us want to stay stuck in the comfort of quote unquote certainty, which doesn't really exist, right? Everything changes all the time on some level. We don't have to dive down a rabbit hole there, but I just think how and just the experience, even just the experience of driving with you to Wisconsin, right? Like when we do that.
Yeah.
Like we notice different things when we drive. We talk about different things when we drive. There's just so many, and you never know, right? Like, where are we going to need to eat? Where are we going to need to get gas? Is mom going to get dairy? Hard to say.
Yeah.
So many different pieces to that. I have to say one thing. I've never seen you as happy as I saw you at that elephant nature park.
I was going to say the elephant nature park is...
It's a sanctuary. You don't ride them. You take care of them, and they've been rescued. And it is amazing. And I've never seen you like that.
That is... I would go back to Thailand for that alone. That was incredible. Elephants are my favorite animals. My favorite individual animals are dogs, because I have close bonds with dogs, but my favorite species of animal, elephants.
Yeah.
That was I think about that a lot.
Yeah, I do too, because that was a day where I saw you smile from the inside out on a level I had never seen before. That was just cool, because you just, I don't know, you just dropped right in and we're all in for the whole thing, and it was super cool to see. But that's it. Like, you would never have that experience. You only get that kind of an experience with travel. Yeah,
I might push back against that last part a little bit, because I think you can have those experiences okay,
that's fair.
But
it's fair. I meant in Minnesota, you're never going to have an elephant experience.
That is true.
Like that.
Okay, yes, okay, fair. I was misinterpreting.
No, you actually weren't. I said it in a way that was way too broad.
Okay.
I meant to say you're never going to get that again in Minnesota. Like, you have, living where we do, you have to travel to get that or something similar. That's maybe not true, because you probably can, but you probably can get something similar here.
Yeah, it's allowing for hyperbole. You can't get that anywhere else.
No, exactly. I thought it was, that article made me think a lot about wellness, vacation versus just vacation, and travel as a whole. And what I'm realizing is that for me, travel, I prefer it when it's with people that I know and we're exploring together, as long as I have my space. And I'm finding that forcing myself to do other travel for myself has been really good for me. Even if it can be more challenging, I still benefit from the wellness piece of it.
Yeah. One more thing off that I just want to piggyback a little bit. I feel like there's another thing that maybe this article didn't talk about very much, but on the one hand, there is the stress reduction, like lowering stress, and that is true for a lot of people. It's not necessarily as true for me necessarily, but I suppose it can be. Well, I think the other thing that I find really cool about travel is you have to problem solve a lot, and you may not think about that a lot, but when you were talking about we don't know what's going to happen, we don't know if we're going to get dairy, if we're going to run into something, or if we're going to have a flat tire, whatever, that sort of thing. those experiences are like, well, they can be stress. Those can increase stress in those moments. Like those make me, solving problems in the real world makes me feel like good about myself in a way that nothing really replicates. Like that's why, like, if I feel sad or whatever, like if I feel like sad because I've like been at home for too long, or whatever, something like that. If I feel like I'm just like not really doing anything, that sort of like sadness that comes with that, I will like, that is why one of my favorite hobbies is woodworking, because you are building something, you are problem solving, you're creating something, and like it is a very like tangible, like almost like addicting like sense of like you feel really 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 I don't know, it feels like you have purpose when you are solving problems all the time. Like I maybe that's just me, maybe that's just how my brain works, but like I feel like it's important to have something to be like doing and striving for, and even if that's striving against something like a flat tire, like that helps.
Yeah, and I feel like it helps you build confidence, self-trust, and all those things too. I didn't know where you were going with that at first, and I was curious to see where you would land with it. It's funny because I think about like it seems like there's always something when you travel with Dan that goes wrong because he's like a magnet for it. But also, like, I've learned from him that like those mishaps, so to speak, and things that happen, like, we don't dwell on them. We joke. They're the best memories. We joke about them years later, about silly stuff that could have ruined an entire trip, and instead we're like, oh, this is going to be one hell of a story.
Right, exactly.
It's so fun and funny. And for us, they're like treasured memories of awful times, some of them, right? Just not great experiences, but hysterical after the fact.
Exactly.
And I love that. The memories that come with the experience. And I'm all about experiences in general, right? Whether I'm doing it for wellness for myself, or whether I'm doing it to spend time with people that I love, or all of the above. That's usually what it ends up being. I have yet to, well, I shouldn't jinx myself like this, but I'm just saying, I have yet to register for some sort of an event that doesn't connect me with people that I become friends with, or, that a handful of people, or all the people, depending on, right? Rarely all the people, depending on how big the group is.
Yeah.
But, where you connect with everyone and they become lifelong friends. That's amazing. And it's why I still have Facebook, because I can stay connected with friends across the world. I would have got rid of it a long time ago if that wasn't a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, that was kind of fun. That was kind of a fun little...
Yeah, I think this was a fun one.
Yeah, me too. Telling my secrets about pooping in your room.
Yeah, and me perhaps revealing the truth of that I was maybe not as wronged as I make it out to be.
Definitely, we're not. We feel better, or we have better terms.
Oh yes, absolutely. I can finally drop this grudge I've been holding for 5 years now.
It's so funny. Well, we appreciate you joining us today. That was a fun little journey into traveling and self-care. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you want to tell them about how they find us? Maybe tell them about your trips you have coming up?
Oh, I do have trips coming up. Well, we're going to Wisconsin again the end of August.
Yeah, very excited.
You're going to hang out with your friends while I go participate in and teach at a meditation experience, which is going to be amazing. The last one in June was awesome. And then in the fall, the end of September.
Sorry, real quick. If our listeners want to join in on that, how would they do that?
That's a good question. Contact Spencer Jones.
Spencer Jones,
the Prince of Positivity.
Prince of Positivity. Is he on Facebook?
He is on Facebook.
Okay.
Yes, and you can find him there. Or actually, you can just send an email to info@jidwellness.com. That's probably a better way. Okay. And I will connect them with Spencer and get them locked in to the retreat. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited for it.
Cool.
So that's end of August. And then the end of September, we have our Choose Yourself Summit up in northern Minnesota on Sugar Lake, at Sugar Lake Lodge. Ooh. Actually, the lake has a new name now. And I don't know how to say it. It's an Indian name.
Okay.
And it's amazing. And it means sweet water, and that's how the Sugar Lake originally got its name, which is super cool. And the lake has all these like healing properties, and I don't know, the whole website has a cool thing. But we're doing a Choose Yourself Summit up there.
Nice.
The end of September into October.
Have you tasted the water? Is it
I have
sweet?
not tasted the water. So I think I'll probably pass on that one.
I guess you'll have to go taste it yourself.
I guess so. Yeah, they have their amenities. They're awesome. We can go canoeing and kayaking and
Yeah, I saw.
pickleball and golf and like campfires.
Was that the place you had me check out when we went up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It was a nice looking place.
Yeah.
I want to taste the water now.
Well, you go ahead and do that. You can have your own bathroom that night.
Let's go.
Are you coming to the retreat? That would be amazing.
Get back to me on that.
Yeah, I'll get back to you.
I'll get back to you.
That sounds good. So you can find us at jaidewellness.com, JAIDEE wellness.com, Facebook and Instagram. I believe Facebook is Jaide Wellness, Instagram is Jaide Studio, or you can find me at Michelle Albers, 2 A's, AAL, B as in boy, ERS. And if you want to email us, info@jaidewellness.com, because we are always open to hearing what you have to say.
Tell us what you think. Give us article ideas.
Yeah.
Anything.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, that's a wrap.
All right.
Bye. Be you every day.
Bye.